guys, welcome. Episode number 3 of the Coyote Football Stat Show.
Episode number 3.
Episode number 3 means something big, man. We're getting underway, and we're having to talk about a big game. WFAA carried it this week.
Sure did.
And you guys all know already, but it was Celina versus Anna. Whoo, boy.
It's a big one. It's a big one.
Yeah.
Let me put it this way. To think about it, we're a quarter of the way through the football season.
That just makes me sad, actually. A
Yeah.
little bit.
Yeah. But like so we had the game against Celina. We ended up losing by 2 points in quadruple overtime. All right, our boys fought hard.
What's fun about quadruple overtime is how many people I could see in the stands like, what does this do? How do you work in this? And,
yes.
At the first overtime, everybody kind of got it. Second overtime, you could see some people talking. Third overtime, everybody was lost in the stands.
Mm-hmm.
And people turning, looking for all the football pros. Like, what do they do now? What happens next? And
What's the rule?
Yeah, by the fourth overtime, everybody was crazy. But well, we don't like it when our Coyotes don't get a win. We can say that easily. We don't like it for them. We don't.
They don't like it.
No, and Parr's right. Coach Parr's right. When we don't beat Celina, people get crazy. So we certainly did have our share of crazy. We had our share of disappointment. There's a lot of things we could talk about, but we are mostly focused on this show just about the accomplishment of the boys.
Yes.
And so I think that's the tack we're going to take today. And if you know what we're talking about, you know what we're talking about, and we'll just leave it at that.
We'll leave it at that. How about we do this to our men on the team watching? When you watch this, let this game make you hungry for the rest of the season. Go hunt now.
Yep.
Just go hunt. Hunt everybody down. Run everybody down until nobody's talking about anything else.
Yep. That's
just go hunt, and we'll leave it at that. If you take nothing else away, go hunt.
Well, that's great. Always to have an opportunity to do this show, to have groups that will sponsor and come alongside and help. So thanks to Pin Oaks Christian Fellowship for allowing us, these two bald-headed guys, the opportunity to do this show. So with that, why don't we jump in, and I'm going to let you do it, man. I'm going to let you start. I'm going to let you talk about our dude. I'm going to let you our number one dude.
our number one dude.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna get to talk about the offense.
Yeah, let's do it.
Well, we get to start with our man under center. Well, not under center. He's in the shotgun a lot of the time, but the dude, so ZIONDRE Williams is getting more and more comfortable every single game. I continue to be impressed by what he's able to do on the field. I mean, in this game alone, he threw the ball 54 times. I didn't stutter. I didn't.
Right.
You heard me correctly.
That's a
54 times.
Yep.
He completed 34 of those balls. Look, he threw for 343 yards and 3 touchdowns. 343 yards and 3 touchdowns. That's an incredible game. That's going to earn him 2 stickers.
Right.
At 91.8 QB rating is phenomenal.
Yeah, and the thing to remember, and I think a lot of people, forget this. This kid's a sophomore. What I like is I like seeing him take steps forward every game.
Mm-hmm.
He's always improving, always coming back, always fighting, always scrapping for that next thing. And that, I think you could see that in this game, that you could see he was fighting and just left it all out there.
He's got what great quarterbacks possess, the ability to move on to the next play when something maybe doesn't go exactly as you wanted it to do.
Yeah.
And he's got that. But he's not the only one who showed up big. We're going to get to shout out a guy. You're going to get to shout out a guy next that I think showed up huge, had his best game of the season to date.
Yeah, for sure. And I think a lot of that is he was healthy.
Yes.
Right. And so it's fun for me to be able to talk about Chumley, our running back, number one in our hearts, number one on his jersey. He had a really good game, 84 yards on 17 carries. But the most important thing is he hit pay dirt.
And he hit pay dirt in overtime. When we had to have it.
Really count. I mean, they all count, but man, when you're in that kind of a shootout at the end of a game, you got to go to playmakers. You got to go to guys who are just going to will themselves into the end zone. He did exactly what he needed to do, and he put up a touchdown. And so we're going to give Mr. Chumley, Edward Chumley, a sticker for that performance. And in fact, your day was even better overall than just the 84 yards, because he went over 100 yards in all-purpose yards with his reception. So great day, Mr. Chumley. Good work, man.
Good job. Hey, I get to talk about our lead receiver right now, our number one top dog target, Sean Steens. Man, you had, listen to the stat line, 12 catches, 145 yards for a 12.1 yard average, and 1 tutty.
And he was just beating people.
Yes, that's a ball game right there. Like Sean Steens, you showed up big, and you continue to show us that like you were good last year, and you've taken a step forward, and you continue to show that you're willing to be a leader and a dynamic presence on the offense every single week. And so Sean Steens, like, hats off to you, man. 12 for 145 and a touchdown.
And just, I mean, listen, I think it's great when you got a quarterback who's young, listen, 63% completion percentage for him, which is nothing to sniff at. That's a pretty good completion with 54 throws on the day. Like, that's pretty good. But for a quarterback to have the kind of receiver in Steens where you could just throw the ball, just get the ball in his area. I mean, Steens fought defenders off. Like that was his ball, and he wasn't giving that ball up. That was going to be his cat. That ball came in his region. If it was anywhere within his radius, he was going to try to pull that in.
He had a catch across the middle on one where a linebacker was just about draped all over him. I have no idea how he came down with it, but he did, and it was phenomenal. So Sean Steens, great job. We have a couple other receivers that we need to shout out.
You go Eric Bowen. Next guy, number 80. Listen, Eric Bowen had 2 receptions. He got 24 yards and 12 per reception. But again, another important touchdown. You know, every point was counting in this game. Every time you had the ball, you know, obviously the goal is to go score. But when you know you're going to be in a shootout, which in the first half we didn't know that. In the first, it was a tale of two halves in this game. First half, it looked like we're going to have it all buttoned up, and
it was a tale of 3 quarters and 1 quarter.
Yeah,
if you know, you know.
If you know, you know.
We'll leave it at that.
But yeah, Eric stepped up, made a couple really good catches, but one of them was in the end zone. So number 80, Eric Bowen Jr. We're going to put a sticker on the helmet for you
on the board, and not to be outdone. Number
Never.
88,
never to be outdone.
Number 88, Brett Poole. Once again, like. There were some routes that Mr. Poole ran, some out routes. He had some things that he did that I was really impressed with on Friday night. So he went 4 for 54, and he got one of those in the end zone. He was reliable. Yeah. He was there when we needed it. He won some routes when we had to have some routes won. Brett Poole, you won those routes, and so we see you working hard, getting better. Like, that's the story of our offense. They're getting better every week, and yet they're still putting up 40-plus points every single game.
Yeah,
I'm looking at our board. The lowest scoring game is 37, and they're just getting better.
Yeah, and just getting started on top of it all. What's fun about this receiving core, and just kind of looking ahead, we've got 3 great juniors in this receiving core. Ronald Bell Jr., who had almost 10 receptions in this game, 9 for 68. But Eric Bowen and Brett Poole, these guys are all juniors. These guys are all returners for next year, which I guess for looking forward, for Zy to have a core of guys he's real familiar with who understand the offense going into next year, that's pretty promising.
That is. And then on top of that, he's got Aiden Palmer, who's a sophomore, who has shown up key moments, and he's going to get a call out again later.
Yeah,
he had a big moment. But, you're right, that receiving core is coming up huge. But, that our offense doesn't do it all alone.
No, they don't. And so let's roll right into defense. All right, looking at defensive stats, guys. Tackles are fun for us because we got to put people on the ground. That's just the name of the game.
And we put people on the ground.
Man, there were some really great tackles in this game. But let's just get it started. This week, the game, we had 3 guys tie in the second place for number of tackles.
Yes.
That's not normal. It just so happened that's the way it worked out this week. They all got 3 solos and 5 assists to combine for 8 tackles each. So we had, I'm going to start with Grayson Stewart.
Yes.
I mean, we say his name every week, and we've run out of superlatives. We've run out of words to say about this kid's work ethic and his ability on the football field.
He's a dog.
He's
a dog.
Grown man. I mean, he's just a grown man doing work, man. Every time he steps onto the field, it's so fun to watch. So he gets a sticker for being tied up there with those guys with 8 tackles. You want to
Brandon Green Jr., my guy. Yeah. I still remember week 1, the sack you had on the blind side. You showed up big again against Celina. You had 8 tackles on the evening. Like Phil said, 3 solo, 5 assisted. 8 tackles on the evening is going to get you 1 sticker. Then you had a tackle for a loss is going to get you sticker number 2.
Sticker number 2.
Like you continue to bring a level of physicality off of the end of the line that we need, and it shows up big time. And I'm excited to see what he's going to do the rest of the season.
Yeah, and the third guy in this group of 3 was number 15, Jamison Adams. He's another kid that, he just has a work ethic. Sometimes Jamison's not the flashiest guy, but I guarantee you he's working all the time.
No one's outworking Jamison Adams.
No way. There's not a chance. If you watch him on the field, he's constantly, his head's on a swivel. He's always looking. He's always apart. He's always jumping in. He's running to and that's what this group does so well together, right? I think that's what makes them so dangerous. Of course, that's how we're starting to come up with this new nickname that seems to be kind of catching, and for good reason. In fact, we might have a little treat for them that we should.
What's that nickname?
The Death Squad, baby. It's the Death Squad.
The Death Squad with the 4 horsemen.
With the 4 horsemen, yeah, as the anchor. We're excited to talk. Listen, and here's the thing: the reason that we talk with such confidence about this defense is, I mean, even guys like the commentators for the WFAA, right? They were talking about it. One of the guys was talking. He's like, "Listen, if you want to know how to play linebacker, then put on some Coyote film and get your master class, because that's how good these guys are." This defense is special. We got a lot of great seniors, and I see them. They're trying to transfer that information. They're trying to teach down so that these other guys that are behind them can step up. And you see that in guys like Cash Williams for sure.
Yes.
But man, those 3 guys combined for 24 total tackles among the 3 of them with a tackle for loss.
Yeah.
But they were all led by one this week.
Well, before we get to him, I'm going to talk about a guy who had his first game of the season, coming back from an injury.
So good to see him on the field.
Yes.
Yeah.
Nathan Nickerson. Dude, you went out there. You had 4 tackles on the day, right? And in a game where your responsibility was to hold up gap assignments, because, I mean, Celina's, their entire game plan was just to try and run the ball, right? Just to try and run the ball. So you had 4 tackles, but you got a tackle for a loss. So Mr. Nathan Nickerson, you're getting on the board for the first time this season. We're proud of you. We see you. Mm-hmm. Welcome to your first game as a Coyote.
Yes, sir.
And I know that you're going to punish some quarterbacks coming off that edge, because you got some speed, brother. I saw a couple of those swim moves and some things you were doing off the edge was incredible. Hey, by the way, as you get into this next guy, do you want to say something about Mr. Nickerson?
It's just the first game for him.
Yes.
He's just getting in, and the sky's the limit for him. I mean, listen, just looking at him, he's stepping off the bus. He passes the eye test in every way. Mm-hmm. Teams are going to see him walking onto the field, and that alone is going to be enough to start sending a message. And his play was backing it up. So I can't wait to watch him take those next steps in these next few games. So let's roll into the next guy.
You're gonna talk about. So
I get to talk about number 35.
You got to talk about number 35 real quick though. Before you tell us his stats, we got a little inside peek at a scouting report, and Celina may have just been referring to him as the dude. And the dude showed up.
He did. He rolled hard. It was like a freight train. You did not want to be in the way. CJ, I mean,
no, you didn't.
17 times in the course of the night, he just laid it out. Just laid them out. Just, I mean, tackle after tackle after tackle. I'm sure they got tired of announcing his name in the middle of that game because he was constantly involved. 12 solo tackles, 5 assists, 17 for the night with 2 tackles for loss.
Yes, 2 of them.
Tackles for loss. How many stickers is that? I'm having a hard time counting everything.
Well, that's 3. We challenged him last week to get his number in tackles. And I CJ, I don't know if you took that personally. Like CJ took that personally. Here's the crazy thing. He had 17 tackles. Celina ran the ball 30 times.
Right.
He was involved in 17 tackles.
Yeah.
That's incredible. That just shows you that CJ was everywhere. But like you said, he would 17 tackles, 2 for a loss. Like, he came out big. And the reason we talk about him so much is not just that he had 2 tackles for a loss or 17 tackles, but he also had our only sack on the night.
Yeah.
And so he's getting another sticker for having the sack on the night. And like, we brag on our defense and we brag on CJ and we brag on Jameson and Grayson and Abram Greer and Brandon and all of these guys, Jadon Mason Davis and Kalen Brown. Like, we talk about them when we call them the death squad.
Yep.
Because we may have lost the game by 2 points, but if you look at the raw yardage, we outgained Celina so incredibly much. Yeah. And part of that is because of what our defense does and how they just are able to bottle teams up and limit and slow down the best things that our opponents do.
Right. And the bottom line is this, and this is going to be the thing that we talked about a little bit last year, the discipline. Mm-hmm. Right? When we play disciplined on defense, when we play disciplined emotionally, right? When we play disciplined, we're just not going to get beat. I don't think this team will get beat. I think this team, if they can play disciplined through an entire game, we won't get beat.
Right.
There was a lack of discipline several times through the course of the night, where that's on defense and missed assignments and, of course, that pass, that one pass, those things happen. Teams have to learn from those. If you're not learning, you're losing. And so at this point, I know this team. I know these coaches are, they've seen it well before we did. And I know that they're gonna drive this home. And when this team plays discipline, they're an unbeatable team, in my opinion.
And we were on the fence during the game. Mm-hmm. Right? Like standing, like physically standing on the fence. We weren't, on the fence emotionally or whatever. But we got
to Coyote, baby. I'll tell you that right now.
But we got to see some of that passion from the coaches and how they were helping to not just coach these boys in a football game, but helping to coach them to become men.
Yeah.
And that's just once again a shout out for coaches. You're not necessarily getting a sticker on there, but all of these stickers are because you're putting our boys in the right spot and you're teaching them how to be men. So kudos to you. But we're not done with the defense.
No. And in fact, you already mentioned it, but I'll just go ahead and drive it home. CJ Miller, you get another sticker for the sack.
Yes.
So the 17 tackles and tackle for loss weren't enough. You wanted to add a sack. You wanted to taste a little taste of quarterback.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. And look, so Celina's game plan was to run the ball, but when they had to pass the ball, our secondary showed up big. And so I'm going to talk about some of our secondary.
Let's do it.
We had 4 pass deflections on the evening, so I'm going to go through and list you guys. Grant Cerveny, you had a pass deflection. Grant Cerveny, you had a second pass deflection. I wasn't going to miss both of them. Grant Cerveny came back and he showed up huge. Yeah. And he looked as healthy as I've seen him all season. Like he was ready to go. The dude was all around the field. Kalen Brown, number 32, you had a pass deflection. So Kalen Brown, you're going to get on the board as well. We've got your sticker up there. You guys can come and check this out. And then Abram Greer, we have you down with a pass deflection. Number 42 is a senior. And we've talked about all of these guys before, whether it was last year, this year, but our secondary has taken huge steps forward too.
For sure.
Which has been really cool to see our secondary get in there and be more comfortable with their technique and their timing and where they're at. And that's been cool to watch. So guys, good job getting your hands in there and breaking those passes up. Yeah. It's a big deal.
Way more aggressive in that regard, and it's fun. And that's how Grant comes back and gets another sticker for causing a fumble.
Yes.
Right? And so Grant gets in there, causes a fumble, and then that fumble recovery is made by Jadon Mason Davis.
Yes, sir.
No, not that one.
Yes.
Was it that one?
Yes.
Because I thought Jadon...
No, that was the blocked. That was the
blocked. Yeah, that was the blocked kick. Blocked field goal.
Yes.
Okay. So, but yeah, Grant gets in there, causes a fumble, so you're going to get another sticker. You're going on the board for that, plus your 2 pass deflections. Jadon gets a fumble recovery on the night in a critical moment, and that was incredible.
You might as well tell us right now what he did with it.
Well, it goes to the house, baby.
Where else
do you take? Where else does
house.
Jaden Mason Davis take a fumble recovery? But
That-
the house.
That dude was running so fast that you could literally, like, if you watch it back, you see the Celina kids that were chasing him just quit,
give up,
and he just jogs, like literally jogs it in from out the 20. He's like, nobody's gonna catch me.
Yep.
That was an incredible play that Jaden Mason Davis. You took that to the house. Yeah. Hey,
here he is,
Abram Greer.
Yeah.
You continue to show up in big moments every single week, and like we're just so impressed with you. Like he's another guy that we're running out of superlatives, running out of words to say.
At what point, like, do we not start hearing about attention? These guys, these players getting attention. I mean, it should be happening. We should be at this place in the season now where these guys are showing themselves, proving themselves on the field. At some of these schools, some of these programs that are around the area need to be paying attention to these guys. This is not just smoke. This is not just, home cooking kind of excitement. These guys are legitimate players. They're legitimate like leaders, and I think they're deserving some of attention. So and I'm taking away from Abram.
No, you're good.
Here,
they are,
and it's because he's so good that I feel like there ought to be more eyeballs.
And they're of high character. Yeah. They're the character of people that you want on your program. Well, for college coaches, you want them. So Abram Greer, you showed up. You had the pass deflection we mentioned, but you also had 2 blocked extra points, and you had a blocked field goal, the one that Jaden Mason Davis took to the house.
Yep.
Abram Greer showed up big. He was literally destroying the middle of the line whenever Celina would line up for a field goal or an extra point. And so Mr. Abram Greer, we see you showing up big. We see you coming in big ways every single week, man. And I know that good things are going to follow.
Yeah.
Keep working hard. Good things will follow.
Yeah, for
that
sure.
attention will come. I believe it.
Yeah, they have. I mean, at this point, it's almost like it feels like it has to. They're just the stuff they're putting on tape. It's just undeniable right now.
Yeah,
it's undeniable. So guys, we see your hard work. That's going to wrap up our defensive section of stats and stickers. And so now let's roll right into a little bit of maybe
special teams.
Special teams. All right, we're going to run right into this. And, special teams, there's usually a wide variety of stickers we give out. I think we got a couple here to highlight. And I think the first one is flipping the field.
Yes.
Right? The flip the field sticker. And this goes to Jameson, a massive boot of 56 yards. That's a big kick. That is a big kick. And in a game that is close, in a game that inches really do matter, that kind of a kick changes everything. When you can move from being that on your side of the field and flipping the script like you did with a kick of 56 yards, that changes everything. So man, Jameson, here's another reason you're getting on the board today. That's for that big kick, that big leg, man. Way to go. Good kick.
So he's getting on the board. And then I'm going to shout out number 85, Camden Schlicht. You went 1 for 1 on your extra point attempts on the evening. We talked about anytime a kicker, makes all of the extra points, that's worth shouting out. That's a big deal. Camden Schlicht, you came in, you went 1 for 1 on the extra points. So you got a sticker up on the board, brother. We're proud of you. We see you doing that. You had so he made 1 of 2 field goals. He missed the second one, but he made a really good effort to get that up off the ground. That was towards the end of regulation.
That ball was on the ground completely sideways.
It was a muffed kind of fumbled snap and hold and
low snap.
And he did a good job of getting that and giving it a shot. And so I was impressed.
And I feel like Jameson did everything he could in that moment too. I think that snap came out low in the moment, and he tried, and he knew he didn't have long, so he just left it laying on the ground. I don't even know if he put a hand on top of it.
It got a little bit up. It got a little angle to it off the ground, but it was a tough situation, and but we made the best of it. So I was impressed, even though it didn't go in. I was still impressed with the effort. That shows the effort our kids put forward. Look, you talked about the effort that Jaden Mason Davis had on that kick return, but we got to quadruple overtime.
Right.
And we had to have some plays made.
And it was back and forth. I mean, you had to do it. That's the the whole part of the game. That's why they do what they do in overtime, is it forces teams to go deep into their playbook, right? To how many 2-point conversions do you have in your playbook?
When do you run out of 2-point conversion plays?
The good thing is we're going to throw up a sticker for our quarterback, number 8. right? Give Zai another sticker for, you know, a rushing conversion. When it counted, you made it happen, and that's why you're going back on the board, man. Another sticker for that. It was an absolute need, and you provided. So, and he's not the only one, and I'm so excited for this one.
He's not the only one.
No.
So Zai brought that 2-point conversion in the second overtime after Chumley got the touchdown. I remember it was down on the end of the field we were on. Then we go back to the other end of the field, and we actually end up getting a delay of game penalty. And so we're 4th and goal, or conversion and goal from the 8-yard line.
Yeah.
And sophomore Aiden Palmer, number 10, brother, we see you.
He elevates.
He got up big, and
Yeah.
like he knew once he caught it, he was not going to go down until he got that ball across the goal line. Aiden Palmer came up big time. And look, talk about he's another dude that's of high quality, high character. I've gotten the chance to have a couple of conversations with him. And Aiden's just a good dude. And there's nothing more that you love seeing than when good dudes show up in big moments. And so Aiden Palmer, you came up huge in the 3rd overtime to extend it.
Yep.
We went first, and so we set the table in 3rd overtime. And so Aiden Palmer, you're on the board.
Right there, buddy.
We see you.
Right
Your
there,
stickers.
buddy.
Your sticker is up there.
Yeah, man. A good game overall. I know we didn't get the result we wanted, and so it feels like it's tainted. But you know what? It's next game up. That game is yesterday.
That game's over.
The game is
All
done.
Saints.
Now we move on to All Saints. It's going to be a game on the road. Our boys are traveling over into Fort Worth to face All Saints. All Saints has had a pretty good season so far. I think are they undefeated rolling into this game?
4-0. 4-0.
Yeah, so 4-0. They played some guys from Tulsa. I know they played an Addison team. They've kind of played all around, but it'll be fun to have the Coyotes go in and face off toe to toe. It's time. It's time for these guys to take it up that next notch. You know, this will be a fun test. By all accounts, All Saints is a good football team.
Yes,
and so it'll be a lot of fun to watch.
That'll be at 7 p.m. this Friday, September 22nd. They're away, and then we come back home. Little homecoming action, September 29th.
Yeah, and it's the last non-district game.
Correct.
Right, so we get Walnut Grove in our last non-district game when we come back home in 2 weeks.
7:30 back at the Coyote Den.
Back in the den, baby.
Back where we can get loud and proud.
Have a little tailgate.
Have a little tailgate.
Fun. Yeah, so we'll be out there tailgating a little bit before. We invite you guys to come out, join us for that. And as we wrap up, maybe just a couple things. If you haven't already, share the show. We want all the players that get shout outs have the opportunity to hear our excitement, our love for this football team, and really an opportunity to kind of put up. I had a chance to hear from one of the kids. And just how grateful they were, that there's people out there that are trying to put their accomplishments on the spotlight a little bit.
Yeah, that's cool.
It was kind of neat to get that feedback, just to see that. But it really is our pleasure, guys. We love this. It is a labor of love for us. But we'd love for you guys to subscribe. Make sure to be a part of this and get notifications when we put up a new show. It'll alert you if you'll set it up like that, and that way you know when the newest things come out. So. I think that's kind of all I have.
As always, we end it.
We end it the same way every week.
Ready?
Ready on 3? 1, 2, 3.
Go Coyotes.